ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Roundtable. My name is Robert Bannon. You're watching us on Broadway World, listening to us on the Broadway Podcast Network, or watching us on YouTube. I'm excited to be here today. I love Burt Bacharach so much. I love the music of Hal David and Burt Bacharach. I love this new album's playlist. I can't wait to hear it this July. And if you're in New York City, you better get your tickets to come see the show at the Birdland Theater, which is such a beautiful gem of a space downstairs at the Birdland. Allyson, I want to sing with you. Oh my goodness. And I'm so self-conscious of this interview, of the hundreds we've done. I speak one language, trashy Jersey, English. Allyson Briggs is here with all 7 languages and all of her. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This is exciting. I'm glad you love Burt Bacharach.
I love Burt Bacharach, and what I loved about your set list, to jump right in, is that you gave us songs that we expect. You gave us some deep cuts. You gave us some things that we don't always equate with him because they're so famous by other artists. How'd you come up with this set list?
Well, the set list really was kind of an organic thing. It ended up being 20 songs because it turned into one of those, well, I have to include this, but then I have to do this one too. And of course I'm going to do this one. So it kind of became this tumbleweed of, gosh, we have to do all of these, right? If we're doing a Burt Bacharach album. It started as a tribute concert to him that I created in 2022 before his passing. And then when he passed away last year, I thought, my gosh, we should record this as an album, keep this in the airwaves, but also this will be for the next generation to discover him, to enjoy his music, and we're kind of putting our fresh take on it. So I thought it's the right time to do this too.
Well, while we're talking, the concert is on Tuesday, July 9th. So you got to get your tickets. And then the album, I believe, comes out on July 12th.
Yes. Yeah, that Friday.
Mm-hmm. Stream it, buy it, purchase a copy of it. Now, your career is fascinating because you have Allyson, as the solo artist, as all of the work that you do. And then tell us a little bit about the group.
So I created the group Fleur Seule 10 years ago, and it has started from kind of a humble little jazz band making our way in Manhattan to kind of a full company now. We do events, whether it's a trio or a 15-piece orchestra, and it's been amazing to have this music take us around the world. I just got back from Puerto Rico last weekend, doing a tribute to Tony Bennett, and I will be returning to Puerto Rico to San Juan to bring the Burt Bacharach concert to San Juan this fall. So it's become this amazing whirlwind of opportunities to bring great music to people around the world, and I've focused heavily on an international approachability because I have a love for languages, for communication. Spanish is my second language because of my husband, who is Puerto Rican, and that has led me to a whole new world of opportunities. So I think when you open up that door to people, it invites them in when you are literally speaking their language, and it allows them to become part of the experience faster, and it allows me to explore all this amazing repertoire that might not be heard as often as Fly Me to the Moon. The original Beyond the Sea, we all know the Bobby Darin version. The original was in French by Charles Trenet. So I love to throw things like that in there, and people go, oh, I didn't know that. So I love that kind of stuff.
Well, I love it too. I fell in a rabbit hole of all of your work, and I can't wait to come see you all do something live. Your voice is gorgeous, and the arrangements are gorgeous, and the ideas are gorgeous. And so see it live and stream the album, or buy a copy of the album. You can pre-order the album right now if you're catching this before the release date. So, music these days, Allyson, is recorded really out of love. I mean, no one is, buying a mansion in Bel Air on their Spotify check. So what? I feel you. I sadly. So what is it about the recorded work? What is it about the physical copy that I miss them? I want to hold them.
Well, I'm glad you said that because a lot of love and work went into this album and into the album booklet itself. It's a longer than usual. It's kind of a six-page accordion insert that I wanted to include a little backstory on some of these unusual tracks. What in the world, is going on with the German and the Yiddish tracks on a Burt Bacharach album? So there's a little bit of an explanation of the context of how those worked their way into the concert and ultimately into the album. But um, I hope that people will feel how much we loved doing this and how much care and thought went into this. We're doing this as a quintet. Normally, it's a studio orchestra you need for Burt Bacharach songs. But I thought, what an exciting challenge to pare this down to our mighty little jazz quintet, my main guys and I, and allow people to see good music is good music. You can enjoy this with a 30-piece ensemble or a five-piece group, and it's just great, enjoyable music and a fun challenge for us to have that intimacy. I think it also allows how David's lyrics to just pop that much more. So,
Absolutely. Promises, prayers, and raindrops. So make sure you get it right now.
yeah,
I'm a little obsessed. I think with if we have old school mentalities where we listen to and love music of the day, like Burt Bacharach, like this Tony Bennett tributes that you go on and Lady Gaga, etc.,
yeah.
and do these classics. Is about arrangements. It's a forgotten art form in a lot of popular music today. So tell me, how did you stay true to the arrangements? How much did you play with the arrangements? Who does your arrangements?
So Andy Warren is the trumpet player that you will hear and see with me almost all the time, and he does our arrangements. So we really wanted to I said to Andy, I said, I really want to find that balance where we are preserving what was magical and special about the original because songs that have staying power like that, like I Say a Little Prayer for You, Close to You, Alfie, those songs have been around for decades because there's something special about it as it was. So I want to make sure we find that perfect, tricky balance of honoring the original, yet making it our fresh take on it at the same time. And so that is why we took a very long, painstaking time in this recording process and spent the whole winter basically. I would say it's been about a 2.5 year process, this album, from inception to actually recording to now the release will be this summer. So we've just been taking our time and trying to not rush anything and really nitpick as Bert was notorious for doing, maybe driving people crazy, but in the spirit of his music, you really have to get to the details.
Well, when singers try to sing, when you're in your car and you're
Mhm.
listening to Dionne Warwick comes on or Karen Carpenter comes on or some of these
Yeah.
these classic iconic songs come on, Aretha Franklin, you think, "Oh, these songs they sound so buoyant, fun, and simple." They make them sound simple. The time changes, the key changes, the rhythmic writing of these songs are incredibly hard. So how did you
Yes.
find your way into them?
Well, truthfully, I had to kind of come up with a practice regimen for myself. I think I can say confidently that I'm pretty on top of my technique. It just you have to be to perform 4 hours a night 3, 4 nights a week. But this was a new level of challenge in the repertoire, and I think that's why it's not done as often because you have 2-bar phrases coming at you like crazy, and then you're in 15/8. "Bert, what are you doing? 15/8, who does that?" And then you're back to, 4/4 time for a bit. So, not only does he have this very unusual meter that just through time and repetition becomes second nature, um, the repertoire itself, the octave jumps are just incredibly challenging. So it it was exciting to kind of unlock the next level in the video game for myself of, the challenge for me as a vocalist to rise to that occasion. And still, it's got to come off as simple as Dion and Dusty and all those amazing women and Peggy, that is where the craft comes in. It's just on the inside, you're just, the man behind the screen, and then the audience is just seeing, oh, this is relaxing, while you're sweating on the inside.
Absolutely. I understand. Well, I'm looking at the track listing. Do you know The Way to San Jose, which
Hmm.
is iconic? I'll Never Fall in Love Again, which is iconic. Then you get to number 3, which is Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. Is it German?
It's in Yiddish.
Yiddish. Tell me.
Yes. And I am joined by Broadway star Julie Benko on that track. She just wrapped Funny Girl playing Fanny. And we went to NYU together not so long ago. Uh, and little fun fact, her husband is Jason Yeager, who is my pianist. And that all happened just by accident, a very New York way. I knew Jason for a long time, and he had played as my pianist for many years until I finally saw something. I think it was on Facebook, and I said, "Do you know this gal, Julie Bako? I went to college with her." He said, "Well, she is my girlfriend." So it's a very small world. But this track, I knew I had to call Julie because she's the only other gal in town that is actively singing in Yiddish, first of all. So she was also in the Yiddish language Fiddler on the Roof. And I, being a German speaker, picked up the Yiddish very quickly, and I said, "We have to do this." It was an arrangement that the Berry sisters did in 1971, and being the language nerd that I am, I said, "This is definitely going in the show." So we
And
had to.
it's there. And we love the song, and I can only imagine how this she's such a good singer. She's so
Yes,
incredibly talented. In
very,
what she
very
does.
silky, smooth voice.
Yes, very much so. What the world needs now is love. One of my favorite songs of all time is One Less Bell to Answer. That
Oh yeah.
whoever sings that song, that is an emotional, heartbreak, beautiful, gorgeous ballad. Why a song like that? What about it made you want to make sure it was on the album?
Just for that reason. It shows, there's such a range also to Hal David is the other magical piece of this. On almost all the tracks, it's lyrics by Hal David. Um, just highlighting that side of their work as a duo. There was so much joyful music, but there was also heartbreak that they wrote in a masterful way that still has some kind of uplift to it. And that's something that I think is missing in today's music. Today's music can be so intense and literal, and that the old school music, even if you were singing about something sad, it still had a little uplifting aspect to it, musically, if not lyrically. And that one just, it was different, very different from the others. And I knew I wanted to have that in there. But the one thing that drew me in was when I was reading Bert's bio, Anyone Who Had a Heart, it told about how that song came about, which was Angie Dickinson just said in passing to Hal David about their mail. And she said, "Oh, would you mind bringing up the mail? It's one less bell to answer." And he wrote that as a song, like to take that inspiration. It just showed the genius of Hal David, too. So,
I, I love it. I love it. I love that so much. As I'm going through this, there's a we'll get to some of the deeper cuts. There's a Bond theme. There's all sorts of fun things on here, but
yeah.
there is a 1, 2, 3 singers punch in the middle of this track list. You have Promises, Promises, Walk On By, and Alfie. 1, 2, 3, and then They Long to Be Close to You. I, I mean, come on, Allyson, you better sing.
Like I said, I've been on a practiced regimen for these concerts. I'm not just leaning on that stool and chilling out. It is a lot of work, but it is so rewarding to get through that concert.
So when you look at some of the, what do you think are some of the lesser known songs on the playlist, on the set list, and what do you, why, how'd you find them?
Well, certainly the German one. Then ich mir was wünschen dürfte doesn't really roll off the tongue. So that in itself, and I explain this on the album notes, but that was not originally written by Bert. It was written by Friedrich Hollander, but it was arranged by Bert to try to make it better for Marlena, whom he loved and had a wonderful friendship and working relationship with. He just hated her songs, and they're so German. They're so depressing. But that was his attempt to at least make the arrangement better. And I thought, it just has to go in. I do have a sense of humor when I'm picking these things too. So I just like to kind of catch people by surprise, make sure they're not sleeping.
Sure.
Um, that one definitely will be a lesser known one. I think the Peggy Lee tunes as well. I really got on a Peggy Lee roll because I've always taken a great deal of inspiration from her. But Michael Feinstein asked me to join him at Carnegie Hall in 2022 in a tribute to Peggy Lee. So that really set my wheels spinning after the show. And I was getting into Burt Bacharach land, and I thought, are there any collaborations? Did they ever work together? Did she do his work? So Uninvited Dream, it sounds like a regular jazz standard, I think. That one I wasn't familiar with. And that album was conducted by Frank Sinatra. So it's quite an album. Right? And that just kind of fell through the cracks, I guess. That should be a bigger deal, right? I think that album.
You think Peggy Lee, Burt Bacharach, Frank Sinatra just get together and do a little something,
Right.
something?
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. Okay. See, I'm telling you, hidden gems. There's the gems
Yes.
in this whole thing. And then, of course, you end the album with two songs that, I mean, later Burt Bacharach, but definitely iconic Burt Bacharach, like the theme from Arthur, and That's What Friends Are
Yeah.
For. Um,
Oh, yeah.
which, I mean, just makes me smile, Allyson. The whole thing
I'm
makes me
glad.
smile.
That's what I want. I wanted people to feel like, at the end of listening to it or the end of the concert, like we have so much, I guess, stress and darkness and just negativity that we could focus on, and that kind of seems to come at us all the time because there's news here and there's news there and blah blah blah. And I said, we need something that jumps in the middle of all that and just says there is hope, there is light, there is love. Take a deep breath and just take a moment and kind of escape with this album and remember all the good things too. That's what I want people to take away from this.
I think you did it. I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait for people to see you do it live. I was
Thank
reading
you.
about your career. You do over 300 dates. You sing a lot.
I try to keep busy,
Yes.
stay out of trouble.
And stay on the road and stay out of trouble. How has it
Yeah.
been? When did you discover that you wanted to make this your life and your career?
I think I was 5, and I was in a little children's theater production of Pocahontas, the musical, and I was just in the ensemble, but I said, "Gosh, this is the best thing ever. I have to do this."
Do you ever, when you're at Carnegie Hall or you're putting out an album, you're at Birdland, you're traveling, you're in Puerto Rico singing these classics. It has to be surreal sometimes. It has to be a dream sometimes.
Oh, it is. It's what I always hoped for. Was my view of making it is making a living singing, and that is what I'm doing, and it's always kind of a, "Wow, thank you, pinch me, this is incredible," to be able to do that. That's was my dream.
Well, you have a whole lineup of dates this summer. You'll be in the city. Obviously, we talked about July 9th, but you'll also be in this area. You'll be in Hoboken. You'll
Mhm.
if you're in Jersey like me. If you'll be all over the place. So the best place for us to find the dates?
Is my website. If you put it in the banner there, it's fleurseule.com. I'm also on Instagram under the same handle. Basically, if you just Google Fleur Seule, I'm the only one that pops up.
And we'll be following you, and we will be checking out the dates so you can see live. And I'm sure there's more dates being added and more things up your
Yes.
sleeves as the time comes.
Yeah.
Now, when you put this baby out here and you tour this album, we're ready for the next one. Let's go.
Oh boy. Well, I have all these songs that didn't fit on this one, so we're gonna have to do a part 2, I think.
I think that sounds good to me. I'm so grateful to spend some time with you. I really look forward to listening to the album. and it definitely had me in my feels just thinking about these songs today. So I'm excited to hear your take on it.
Oh, well, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm glad it brought you something special.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Allyson Briggs, make sure you stream the album, get your tickets July 9th, Birdland Theater, and then the album out wherever you hear music on July 12th. Pre-order it now on the website. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.